The burden that sets us free. This is the final week of this series, and as I was meditating and praying about it, it was this particular gospel, of course, that really just inspired me and says, you know what? There's something in this world that we forget, and that is that when we take on the yoke of Christ, we are set free. Now, I know it sounds a little backwards, but just follow along with this, because really, this whole series has been about our reminding ourselves that we are children of God, that we've been freed through baptism to be children of God. You know, the series began, you remember 4 weeks ago, the gospel, 4 weeks ago, yeah? Yeah, nobody does. I do. That was when Jesus sent out the disciples. We're only about the halfway point of the gospel, not even, and Jesus is already sending out his disciples. Let's face it, they were fully untrained. They really didn't have much of the message at all, but he still sent them out and gave them power to go and spread the good news and prepare the Jewish people for his coming. And so they went out, they worked miracles, they came back, they were on fire. You, in your baptism, were set on fire. You, in your baptism, were given that pledge and asked to do the same, to go forth and to share the good news. Even if you feel underprepared, let the Holy Spirit, as St. Paul tells us, be the one to lead and guide us. But then came that second week where Jesus says those words, fear no one. Worry about the ones that can cast into Gehenna. Fear no one. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute, because fear is one of those things, I think, that really handcuffs us as Catholics. Fear no one. Then last week we had that gospel that I just says is a real kicker. It's just one of those gospels that you just can't get around. If you don't spend time with that particular gospel, you're going to get nowhere in your faith life. If you love father or mother, brother or sister, if you love your family more than you love me, you are not worthy of me. So take up your cross and follow. Ooh. That's pretty strong words from Jesus. It's not like it's even kind of watered down words. He didn't water that down at all. He really came right out and shot us right between the eyes. If he is not the top priority in my life, nothing else will work right. He's not saying don't love your family. He's not saying don't be there for each other. He's not saying don't love one another. He's not saying any of that. But he is saying that if he's not the top, then all of that falls apart. And that's why when we get to this week, this was one of those gospels I remember when I was discerning the priesthood, and it was way back before I was even just going through my reversion, and I had this draw that I wanted to be a priest. But I was filled with a lot of fears. I was filled with a lot of fears, like much of the way I bet many of your lives are. We get filled with fear over stuff. We get filled with fear over things. And so I remember when I first started to feel that inkling, it's like, oh, no, I don't think I could leave my job. I don't think I could give up the good income that I have. I don't think I could leave this independence that I have living on my own. And I started to go through all the fears, all the same thing that we go through. And then comes these gospels. Jesus saying, fear no one. Don't let fear bind you. Fear can enslave us. We cling to the things of this life. We cling to the things of this earth as if they're more important than Jesus himself. And I was letting that fear get in my way. And then I hear this particular gospel. Take my yoke upon you, and I will give you rest. Come to me, he says. What a beautiful thing he's offering. What a beautiful thing he's offering. Each and every one of you sitting here right now, I can tell you, fear holds you back. To being a good disciple of Jesus Christ, it's the fears that you have, it's the worries that you have, it's the concerns that you have that hold you back. Now, I can't promise you that you'll never worry about things because, we do worry about how we're going to feed ourselves and how we're going to clothe ourselves and how we're going to get food on the table. Those are legitimate things to be concerned about, but they shouldn't grip us so much so that we push Christ away. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, today most especially, we need to confront some of those fears. We need to confront and turn away from some of those fears. See, to become a disciple, we have to change. We have to change the way we do things. We have to change the way we live life. Now, the obvious change, of course, for all of us is to pray more and to spend more time in meditation and prayer and reading the scriptures. But I'm going to keep going back to that same thing. It's got to move away from me always worrying about me getting what I want. Like so many people come to church, as I've said during this series, to consume faith. They're here just to take in, just feed me, just give me, just entertain me, just care for me. Make it all about me. It's only me, and I'm here to get something for me. And if I don't get something out of it, I'm out of here. Well, at times we need to receive the grace. I won't argue against that. We need to receive the gifts of God, but those gifts aren't given to us to be held on to and clung to. They're meant to be generously given away. And so, my dear brothers and sisters, we have to look at ourselves. Are we consuming faith? Are we here just to get something? Or are we here to be generous and to give it away? And that's a real struggle for all of us, because we know that basically we're not very good at being contributors to the faith. So many people don't give very much of themselves to the faith. They certainly don't give of their money. I can tell you, I've seen how much we're making around here. They certainly don't give a lot of their time. There's so many things that don't get done around here. There's certainly so many of you that have such great talents that are not being used in the service of God. And that's the challenge that I put before us. Can we take that step? Just one step. Just this week, just take that one thing that holds you back from giving more to Jesus. That one thing that you can see in your life. That one fear, that one concern, that one thing that grips you from giving more to Jesus Christ. Giving more of yourself generously and without expecting anything in return. What one thing, and then work on changing that. Work on changing that fear and turning it into something that is generous. Instead of it enslaving, let it free. See, this letter to the Romans, we're following it all throughout this series, and it's going to be all throughout the next series as well. This letter to the Romans is a powerful statement by St. Paul of what it means to be a believer. It's the longest letter he wrote. He never actually met the Romans. He was just going there to start preaching. But he said, but this is what I'm going to come to talk about. And he gives us this very long letter that's got a lot of beautiful stuff in it. But this particular second reading today, what is St. Paul's advice? Don't live in the flesh. Don't live in the world. Don't live by worldly standards. Don't let your passions, don't let your physicality overwhelm you to the point where you can't live in the Spirit. Christ generously pours out his Spirit upon you, and he pours out that Spirit so that you no longer live in this world, that you no longer live in this flesh, but that you go out into the world taking that Spirit, taking that grace with you, and generously sharing it with everybody. And so I send you forth, my dear brothers and sisters, to generously share the Spirit of Jesus Christ with all whom you meet. Go forth and generously give of what you've received. That, I believe, is really what our world needs today. There's more people lifted up out of the world, out of the doldrums, out of the fears, out of the concerns, and into the freedom of the children of God. Take my yoke upon you. Now, I know it sounds a little backwards, a burden that frees us. That little contradiction there when we think about it. No, if I got a burden, doesn't that restrict me? See, it's not my burden. I'm taking his yoke. His yoke means that I'm now linking myself to him, and together now we can go forward. And so whatever burden I might think I have, he takes it. But the one that he gives me back is freedom. The one he gives me back is the freedom to live as a child of God. Doesn't mean that I'll always have it easy, because I don't always have it easy. You all know that. Doesn't mean that it's always going to work out every time I want it to work out a particular way. We all know that. But if I can just let go of those fears that hold me back from being yoked to Christ. And so let us yoke ourselves to him who gives us so generously of himself, who asks us to take up that cross and follow him, who asks us to make him top priority, who sends us out into the vineyard to bring souls to him so that he can unburden them as well. Think of how many of your family and friends are so burdened because they turned away from Christ. Now I ask you, bring your burden to them. That is the burden of Jesus Christ. Go forth, my dear brothers and sisters, as the children of God. You are free. You have been liberated. You have been gifted with such great gifts. Now it's time to share those gifts with others. And so, if you're wondering right now, well, what can I do? You know what you can do. And you know that you can do it. And it's the fear of what's holding you back is why you don't do it. And so what can you do? You know what you can do. You know what you're good at. You know how much you have. Put that to the service of God. That's the challenge of the Gospels. And I have learned over the course of my years that, Jesus didn't come to make it easy, but he came to make it free. He came to make it light. And so he takes that and offers to you that gift, if you will, that gift to go forth and to live in freedom so that you can take his burden with you. And so don't be afraid, my dear brothers and sisters. Fear no one. Come to Jesus. Keep giving it to Jesus. And what he gives back to you, give it to others. Don't even try to hold on to it. Just give it away as freely as you can, because that's what it means to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. Not that we always get, but that we can always give from what we've received. God bless you.